Good evening to all. Welcome you all to the daily current affairs session brought to you by Ganesh IAS Academy for the date 22nd July 2023 for the news which came in Indian Express newspaper. Okay, let's get into the daily current affairs session. Ports to UPI to green energy. India as well as Sri Lankan deepens economic tie. As we all know that the current President Ranil Wickremesinghe of Sri Lanka has visited India to enhance the bilateral relationship between the India as well as Sri Lanka. So this is what the crux of the news is. So what does the news is about? India and Sri Lanka adopted a vision document for deeper economic partnership in the forthcoming future. So the vision document aims to accelerate tourism, power trade, higher education, skill development, strengthen maritime as well as air, energy and people to people connectivity. These are all the areas which is encompassed or wrapped up in the vision document of India and Sri Lanka. So under maritime security, connectivity, what India and Sri Lanka have made is the cooperation in development of ports and logistics at Colombo and Trincomalee as well as Kankesandurai, and resumption of passenger ferry service between Nagapattinam in India as well as Kankesandurai in Sri Lanka. It also wants to expand the flight connectivity between China and Colombo, besides working on exploring connectivity between China as well as Trincomalee, Batticaloa and other areas. Oh, 1 minute. Second is with regard to energy. Oh, 1 minute. There is some technical glitch. Wait a minute. Yeah. One. Okay. In terms of energy, we wanted to establish high capacity power grid interconnection so that they could able to transfer a bidirectional electricity trade between Sri Lanka as well as other country, particularly the BIBIN country. BIBIN means Bangladesh, Bhutan, India as well as Nepal countries. So that what is the purpose of establishing the power grid so that the trade in relation to the electricity will takes place. What is the benefit for Sri Lanka is they could able to earn some forex reserves by selling the power through the grid. So with the support of India, they wanted to establish a power grid interconnection, and it is also benefit for India because they could able to purchase powers at affordable cost. Second is they wanted to expedite implementation of understanding reached on Sampur power project, the solar power project, and LNG, the liquefied natural gas infrastructure, and exploring the cooperation on green hydrogen as well as green ammonia. These are all the areas, renewable sectors, which the India and Sri Lanka wanted to expand their cooperations. Multi-product petroleum pipeline from India's south to Sri Lanka will be established according to the vision document that is signed recently, and also to undertake a joint exploration as well as production of hydrocarbon in Sri Lanka on offshore basin. So this is what the energy sector cooperation between the India as well as Sri Lanka under the vision document is about, the crux points. And in terms of economic as well as technology, they both wanted to enhance the bilateral trade as well as investment in areas, in new emerging areas. And also India wanted to operationalize the UPI based digital payment between the business as well as common people. So this is what the news related to the India Sri Lanka's bilateral cooperation is about. So we have to get into the details of the news. What is why both the country, that is India as well as Sri Lanka, is giving more importance to maritime security is because a secure maritime environment not only will ensure the security of maritime territories of both countries, but also it protects Sri Lankans as well as Indians interest in their own exclusive economic zone. Interest in the sense the area which the particular countries will have the full right over the mineral resources. And also a secure Indian Ocean rim also protects the trading group as well as trading routes as well as other lines of communication that passes through the routes. So அதாவது maritime security na edunana both the countries borders with the Indian Ocean. So Indian Ocean maritime security is more important for both the country in terms of protecting their own trade routes as well as other communication, and also to protect their own sovereignty of the marine resource which is present in their exclusive economic zone. And also by protecting the Indian Ocean, they could able to neglect the domination of domination or monopoly of any one country, a bigger might country like China. So this is the reasons why the both of the countries are giving more importance to the maritime security. Because of this reason, the maritime diplomacy has strengthened in the recent times. So Indian Oceans, so what are all the maritime initiatives have been taken by India as well as Sri Lanka to enhance their cooperation so that the security in the maritime sector is enhanced. First is Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. It brings together navies of Indian Ocean littoral states to increase the maritime cooperation. The security of the maritime region will not only be made by a particular one country, so that it requires the combination of every other country. Those who are bordering their particular ocean should come together, and they needed to cooperate within themselves so that the natural resources as well as trade route as well as any other economic potential that ocean is having, it could be protected for their own benefits. So that is the reason why Indian Ocean Naval Symposium has been formed, and with the guidance or the leadership of India. And also a tripartite agreement was signed between India, as well as Maldives and Sri Lanka to protect maritime security or to enhance the already present maritime security in the Indian Ocean region. So that, as I said, the three regions could be saved. India's neighborhood first policy as well as Sagar initiative deals with growth and development of all the countries in Indian Ocean region, and more importantly those countries which borders with India. So this is and also through the mechanism of BIMSTECs as well as SAR grouping, India is taking the initiative to protect its maritime interest. So these are all the efforts made by Sri Lanka as well as India to protect their own interest in terms of maritime security. And also about energy relationship between India and Sri Lanka. NTPC, PSU of India and Ceylon Electricity Board has been working to set up a solar power plant in Sampur. Before this solar power plant in Sampur, அதை பத்தின ஒரு நெகோசியேஷன் வர்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி பாத்தீங்கன்னா கோல் பவர் பிளான்ட் இன் சாம்பூருக்கான நெகோசியேஷன்ஸ் போயிட்டு இருந்தது ஃபார் தி மோர் தென் அ டிகேட், பட் இட் வாஸ் ஸ்கிராப்ட் டியூரிங் 2016 because the Sri Lanka wanted to transform itself into the non-fossil fuel economy. As a result of which, they have transformed the project itself into solar power plant in Sampur rather than the coal power plant in Sampur. And also, India's PSU named Indian Oil Corporation subsidiary called Lanka IOC runs the oil tank in Trincomalee oil farm. This Trincomalee oil farm was built by British to store the fuels during the World War period, and it was neglected. It remained neglected for more than 50 years, and because of the 1987 India and Sri Lanka Accord, this Trincomalee oil tank farm got recognized, and both India and Sri Lanka wanted to revamp the Trincomalee oil tank farm because India has predicted that the Trincomalee oil tank farm could be the strategic energy hub for India because it is located at the சென்னை போர்ட்ல இருந்து இந்த Trincomalee oil port farm tank பாத்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப டிஸ்டன்ஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மி, so that this oil tank farm can be used by India for storage of oil reserves of India itself. So that is the reason why India is இந்தியா பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த Trincomalee oil farmல ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் வச்சிருக்கிறதுக்கான காரணம் அது. ஸோ அதோட விளைவா லங்கா IOC runs the there are many oil tanks are present in the farms. Lanka IOC right now is running some part of the tank run பண்ணிட்டாங்க for the preservation, maintenance, operation, so on and so forth. Third is Sri Lanka has huge potential for offshore wind, hydropower as well as solar energy. So this is the example why the Sampur solar power plant is the example of Sri Lanka's potential for solar energy because it is a country that is located in the tropic region where the availability of sun is very high, so that the resources, the energy that is produced from the sun will also be very high. And since the Sri Lankan in the நம்ம வந்து இந்த geography mapல பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா it is the highland which is located in the Indian Ocean, so it is surrounded by water on all sides, so that it has the long coastal line, and also because of the availability of oceans surrounding the Sri Lanka, there is அதாவது அங்க விண்டுக்கு வந்து பஞ்சமே கிடையாது. So it has potential for both hydro as well as wind powers, which India has also wanted to have some share in all these renewable sectors because India also is aiming to transform itself from fossil fuel economy to non-fossil fuel economy, that is renewable economy. So that is the reason why India is having giving some importance in terms of energy sectors with Sri Lanka. About economic as well as technology, India and Sri Lanka economic and technology relation எப்படி இருக்குன்னு பார்ப்போம். India has traditionally been among the Sri Lanka's largest trade partners. Sri Lanka remains among the largest trade partner of India in the SAARC. In 2020, India was the Sri Lanka's second largest trading partner, while with the bilateral merchandise trading amounts to $3.6 billion. Sri Lankan exports to India have increased substantially since 2000 because during 1998 India Sri Lanka free trade agreement was signed. This is what I have mentioned in the short form ISL FTA. India Sri Lanka free trade agreement was formed. As a result of this, Sri Lanka got benefited, and more than 60% of Sri Lanka's total export came to India over the past few years because of the concession that is provided under the India Sri Lanka free trade agreement, which was signed in 1998. And India is right now pushing for economy as well as strategic cooperation economy and technology cooperation agreement, the next step for free trade agreement. So right now the negotiation is going on. We'll wait and see what is going to happen. So this is the content of the news as well as the details of the news. We have to know about what are some peripheral areas of the news so that நம்ம அந்த நியூஸை பற்றின ஒரு holistic understanding வந்து பற்றி புரியும். First is we have to know about the geography of Sri Lanka. Geography means, as I have already said, geography does not mean only land. It means soils, natural vegetation, particular the corresponding climate and the corresponding wildlife and faunas and floras. And if there is who are all the tribal people, those who are dependent on the particular natural vegetation, and what is the economy, traditional economy that what is it, that particular tribal group is following. இதெல்லாம் பத்தினா ஒரு details நம்ம தெரிஞ்சு வச்சிருக்கோம். Second is, since I have mentioned in the previous slide about the BIMSTEC as well as SAARC and Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, we should also know about the groupings also. Objective of the grouping, who are all the members, and what is the current status of the grouping. Fourth is India's interest, how it benefits India's interest, how these groupings are benefiting India's interest in the rhythm. Third is we should know about the Sri Lankan economic crisis which happened recently. I have discussed already in the previous session of daily current affairs regarding to the Sri Lankan economic crisis. So please go and have a look at the previous videos so that you could have an idea about the Sri Lankan economic crisis which I have discussed already. English skills for cops traffic surveys planned for India's first MotoGP race. First ever Moto Grand Prix race is going to be held in India at International Buddhist Circuit, which is present in Noida, Madhya Pradesh. Sorry, Noida, not in Madhya Pradesh, Noida. So because of the event, the commissioner of Noida is under his direction, the cops are getting trained to speak in English, as well as some traffic surveys and their related regulation are being taking place so that the event could be conducted successfully. So this is what the crux of the news, content of the news is about. See, so what is this Moto Grand Prix is about? It is a premier motorcycle championship in the world, sanctioned by Federation Internationale de Motorcyclism. இந்த பிளே அதாவது எந்த இடத்துல நடக்கணும் அப்படின்றத சாங்ஷன் பண்ற அத்தாரிட்டி பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த ஃபெடரேஷன் கிட்ட தான் இருக்கு. The first annual championship competition was held in 1949. In 2000 அப்ப பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா its name was not MotoGP, it's only the common name as World Championship for Bike Race. In 2002 the World Championship was rebranded as MotoGP. The tracks laid in the way which is used for the racing are laid in a way where the racer could able to ride the bike very fast without losing any kind of control, and also it prevents water from staying in the track. So on the track kana speciality. So track will be laid specifically for the requirement of the MotoGP. It will not அதாவது ஆல்ரெடி இருக்க ட்ராக்கையே அப்படியே யூஸ் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. They will not be using the already built track. They will be building new track according to the requirement of MotoGP racing. The time from start to finish is 45 minutes. Distance ranges from 100 to 130 kilometers. It will vary according to the places. Points are rewarded for the top 15 riders. The winner will get 25 points. The second place will be getting 20 points and the third place will be getting 15 points. Similarly 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 15, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 points are for the other lower places. The motorcycle Grand Prix features 3 racings, where Moto 2 and Moto 3 are the leagues before the prime championship of MotoGP. That is, 3 types of racing will be taking place. First is Moto 2, and second is the winners will be participating in the Moto 3, and the winners from the Moto 3 will be participating in the championship, final championship of its name is MotoGP. What is the difference between 3 types of racing is, the key difference separating the 3 from 3 is, first is in MotoGP bikes will be more powerful. That is, the bikes used will be around 1100 cc. But in case of Moto 2, the bikes will be around 765 cc, 3-cylinder engine with 140 horsepower. But in the case of the bikes used in Moto 2 are more powerful than the Moto 3, because the Moto 3 bikes will be using 250 cc with 1 cylinder and 60 horsepower engine. So this is the difference between the MotoGP, Moto 2 as well as Moto 3. That strength of the vehicle which the racer is using is the only difference between all the 3 events. So what we needed to study further is, since the event is going to take place at Buddhist circuit, the tourist circuit being developed by Government of India, we should know about what is the geographical location of the circuit and what is the importance of the circuit. Geography means, as I have already said in the previous statement, it is not only related to land, it is related to different types of features which I have mentioned in the previous discussion. And also we should know about the Buddhism. Second is, under which scheme this Buddhist circuit is being developed is Swadesh Darshan scheme. So அதை பத்தி நம்ம தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கணும். Third வந்துட்டு we should know about the Formula 1 racing. Who's the body conducting it, and what is the special features as we have discussed in the MotoGP. அதை பத்தி Formula 1 racing பத்தினா ஸ்பெஷல் ஃபீச்சர்ஸ் என்னன்றதையும் நம்ம தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கணும். NCERT, in the next news is, NCERT is all set to produce textbook in 22 scheduled Indian language. City schools principal welcome move. The NCERT under Ministry of Education is gearing up to produce textbook in 22 scheduled Indian language. That is the language those that are mentioned in schedule 8 of the Indian constitution. That is why it is named as scheduled Indian language, to initiate teaching as well as learning through language medium. Second is teaching in the mother tongue is only optional. If the school wants to adapt it, means they can able to adapt it. It is not compulsory for every school. It is just the NCERT is going to release the book in different different linguistics. So since the news revolves around NCERT, we should know about the structure, function and objective of the NCERT. It is an autonomous organization set up in 1961 by Government of India to assist as well as advise the central and state government on policies and programs for qualitative improvement in school education. It assists and advises both the central as well as state government. Whenever we are seeing the name NCERT, means our mind will automatically relate it to the central government. It is not like that. It will assist and advise the state governments also. Second is the major objective of the NCERT and its constituent units. What are the constituent unit next slide is to undertake, promote and coordinate research in areas related to school education. Third is it prepares and publish model textbooks, supplementary material, newsletters, journals and develops educational kits, multimedia, digital materials and so on, which is required for the improvisation as well as efficient functioning of the school education system. Or it will organize pre-service training as well as in-service training for the teachers, and it will develop and disseminate innovative education techniques as well as practices. And it acts as a clearing house for any ideas and information in relation to the school education. It acts as nodal agency for achieving goals of universalization of elementary education. Third is another important thing is NCERT is an implementing agency for bilateral cultural exchange that is taking particularly in relation to education, in relation to school education, that takes place between India as well as other countries. And NCERT also interacts and works in collaboration with international organizations, visits foreign delegation and offers various training facilities to educational personnel from developing countries also. The major constituents which we have seen these are all the major constituent unit of NCERT. The National Institute of Education, New Delhi, Central Institute of Education Technology, it is also present in New Delhi. Third is Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Central Institute of Vocational Training, which is present in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. Fourth is Regional Institute of Education Ajmer and Regional Institute of Education Bhopal and Regional Institute of Education Bhubaneswar, Regional Institute of Education Mysore and Northeast Regional Institution, which is present in Shillong. So these are all the constituent unit of NCERT which assist and enable the NCERT to achieve its objective. So what does this scheduled language means? As I have said before the starting of this particular current affairs session, it is the languages that is mentioned in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. So that is why it is named as scheduled language. It consists of 22 languages. Of this, 14 were initially included in the Constitution and remaining 8 were subsequently added. The Sindhi language was added by 21st Amendment Act 1967. The Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali are included in the 71st Amendment Act 1992. The Bodo, Dogri and Maiti, Santali were added by 92nd Amendment Act 2003, which came into force 2004. 22 languages are totally contains 22 languages. What are all the languages is Assamese, Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Oriya, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, Bodo, Santali, Maithili and Dogri. So this is what the details related to scheduled language of India means. So what we needed to study further is, since it is really the scheduled language means it is the language that is present in the 8th schedule of Indian Constitution. We should know about the article of 343 to 351 because these articles will contain provisions related to the languages. So அது என்னன்றதை நம்ம பார்த்து தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கணும். Second is national educational policy. Why we needed to look into the provisions of national education policy is the converting the NCERT books into native languages is done under the direction of national education policy only, so that we should know about the important provision which we have already discussed in the previous current affairs session itself. So அது என்னன்றதை இப்போ ரீலுக் பண்ணுங்க. அப்படி இல்லைன்னா நீங்க பார்க்கல அப்படின்னா போய் ரெடி செக் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. Third is we should know about NET as well as TET exam, which is the important exam to recruit the quality teachers in India. So we should know about them also. Fourth is we should look into the schemes related to school education system. If we நம்ம வந்து இந்த மினிஸ்ட்ரி ஆஃப் எஜுகேஷன் வெப்சைட் குள்ள போய் பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா there will be இந்த டாப் மோஸ்ட் ரைட் கார்னர்ல பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த ஸ்கீம்ஸ் ரிலேட்டட் டு ஸ்கூல் எஜுகேஷன் வந்து கொடுத்திருப்பாங்க. So that if by clicking it we could able to look into the what different scheme that is being implemented by government of India in relation to the school education system என்றதையும் நம்ம தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கலாம். Another important thing is, since it is related to school education system, we have to should know about article 21A of Indian Constitution. So this is what the details as well as the other peripheral areas of the news is related to. Cases of cardiac arrest among youngsters after COVID-19. Government says studies are underway. It is some pathetic news. So what is the content of the news is, cases of sudden death among the young people after COVID is getting increased. So government is not having the sufficient evidence to relate those deaths with the COVID-19. What the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has said is 3 different studies are being undertaken to ascertain the facts related to rising cases of cardiac arrest after pandemic. First is multi-centric hospital-based matched case control study in factors associated with sudden death among adult aged between 8 to 45 in India is ongoing. Second multi-centric hospital-based control study is underway. It is currently is undergoing at 30 COVID-19 clinical registry hospital to determine the effect of COVID-19 vaccine on thrombotic events. Another study for establishing the causes of sudden unexplained death in young people through virtual and physical autopsy is also underway. These are all the 3 studies that is currently now government of India is undertaking to ascertain the fact what are all the impacts that the COVID has created among the youth in general as well as youth in particular as well as population in general. See, government of India is implementing national program for preventing and control of non-communicable disease to provide financial as well as technical assistance those who are affected with the non-communicable diseases. So this is what the content of the news is related to. So what does this cardiovascular disease means? They are group of heart as well as blood vessel disorder that includes coronary heart diseases, cerebrovascular diseases, rheumatic heart diseases, and other conditions. These are all the disorders that if it is happening in the heart means then it will be leading it to cardiovascular disease. At the global level, heart attacks and strokes accounts for more than 4 out of every 5 deaths, and 1/3 of these deaths occur in people under the age of 70. In case of India, according to WHO, the non-communicable disease accounts for 63% of the total death in 2016, with CVD means cardiovascular diseases, with cardiovascular diseases accounting for 27% of it. CVDs are also responsible for 45% of death in the age group of 40 to 69 age. So that is the important that this data shows why the cardiovascular diseases is being given importance by the government of India to prevent it அதாவது அது தடுக்கிறதுக்கு கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து ஏன் முக்கியத்துவம் தருதுன்றதுக்கு these data are all the evidence. Risk factors like what is the causes for major causes what the government as well as the doctors are mentioning is high blood pressure, high blood glucose, high blood lipids, and obesity. These are all the major causes which is responsible for causing a CVD disease, that is cardiovascular disease, in a particular person. Since the news has mentioned about National Program for Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Disease, we should know about the details of the program also. The disease covered are cardiovascular disease, cancer, chronic respiratory diseases as well as diabetes, and புதுசா இன்னும் என்னென்ன நான் கம்யூனிகபிள் டிசீஸ்லாம் they are identifying பண்றாங்களோ அதுவும் வந்து it will be encompassed under the program. Since 2010, it was up to district level. The program is being implemented at district level since 2010 under the National Health Mission. Health promotion through the behavioral change with involvement of community, civil society, community-based organization, and media. Screening at all levels in the healthcare delivery system from sub-centers and above for early detection of disease covered under the program, including management and follow-up. To build capacity at various level of health care for prevention, early diagnosis, treatment, rehabilitation, IEC, BCC, operational research, and rehabilitation. To provide logistic support for diagnosis and cost-effective treatment at primary, secondary, and tertiary education, tertiary level of the healthcare. To support for development of database of non-communicable diseases through surveillance system, and to monitor NCD morbidity and mortality and risk factors. So this is what the details related to the particular program is. So what we needed to study further is, since the program is being implemented under National Health Mission, we should know about what does this National Health Mission is about, what are all the important provisions that is encompassed in the particular mission. Second is, we should know about the Ayushman Bharat scheme, the insurance scheme which is being insurance scheme as well as development of health and wellness center scheme being implemented by Government of India. Third is, we should know about the health in the constitution, what are all the provisions that give specific importance to health அப்படின்றது என்ன மாதிரியான provisions ஹெல்த்துக்கு முக்கியத்துவம் தருது இப்போ கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ல அப்படின்றதையும் we should have a note. Oil well with India and Russia. It is the article which came today. After Russian invasion and the resultant sanction on Russia made Russia to deeply discount the crude oil which is produced in the country, as a result of which India has shown interest in buying the Russian oil, apart from buying the traditional buyers which India is used to buy from, particularly the Western Asian countries. So in the news pathina, it has analyzed the trend in the purchase of the Russian crude oil by India. According to Director General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics, its data shows that the oil import from Russia grown more than 10 times since April 2022. That is immediately after the invasion of Ukraine by the Russia. When compared with market share of India's top 10 crude oil suppliers in the last 14 months, Russia has increased at the expense of the share of Russia has increased. So among the 10 countries, if the share of the Russia is increasing, means the corresponding share of the other 9 countries will be decreased. That is what the expense of other countries means. The OPEC, the organization which is responsible for controlling the supply of crude oil in the globe. அதோட ஷேர் பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா it fell by almost half, from 75.3% in May to 40.3% in May 2023. At the same time, Russia's share increased from 6% to 40% among the members of, when compared to the members of OPEC countries. India bought Russian oil in delivered basis. What it means is, the price of cargoes includes the cost, the freight cost, as well as insurance cost. And also oil cost. So these 3 costs encompass the cargo price. So the sanction has increased the freight as well as sanction பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா freight cost as well as insurance cost of the crude oil transport has been increased. So these 2 costs are not under the control of Russia, because these freight as well as insurance services are provided by many countries to the Russian shipments. So only the oil cost will be, which the Russia is producing, will the Russia have whole control under this oil cost only. So Russia, when in comparison with freight cost as well as insurance cost, it deeply discounted the oil cost. இது ஒரு வகையில் ஒரு hand, on the one hand, the 2 costs, the freight as well as insurance cost, were raised because of the sanction. On the other hand, the oil cost was deeply discounted by Russia, as a result of which the overall cargo price of the Russian oil was reduced. But in the case of other countries, the oil costs were not heavily discounted, and அதாவது ரஷ்யா சாங்ஷனால ஏறின அந்த ஃப்ரைட் காஸ்ட் அண்ட் இன்சூரன்ஸ் காஸ்ட் பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, it never compensated with the அதாவது இதுல ஏறின காஸ்டும் மற்ற கண்ட்ரீஸ்க்கு கான்ஸ்டன்டா இருக்க அந்த ஃப்ரைட் அண்ட் இன்சூரன்ஸ் காஸ்டும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த ஆயில் காஸ்ட்ல டீப்பா டிஸ்கவுண்ட் கொடுத்தது வந்து தகர்த்துருச்சு. ஸோ தட் இந்த இந்தியா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வெளியே அந்த ரஷ்யன் ஆயிலை வந்து வாங்குறதுக்கு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் காமிச்சாங்க. ஸோ தட் இஸ் வாட் த நியூஸ் இஸ். Since the news is related to OPEC countries, we should know about the OPEC country. OPEC, what is this OPEC countries is? Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries was founded by 5 countries, namely Republic of Iran, Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. The countries later joined are Qatar, Indonesia, Libya, UAE, Algeria, Nigeria, Ecuador, Angola, and Equatorial Guyana and Congo. Ecuador suspended its membership in December 1992, but rejoined OPEC in October 2007, but decided to withdraw its membership of OPEC on January 2020. Indonesia suspended its membership in January 2009 and reactivated it again in January 2016, but decided to suspend its membership once more at the 171st meeting of OPEC conference 2016. The Gabon terminated its member in January 1995. However, it rejoined in the organization during July 2016. Qatar recently terminated from the organization. So currently, the organization holds the total 13 members. OPEC membership is open to any countries that is a substantial exporter of oil and which shares the ideals of organization. It is headquartered in Vienna, that is in Austria. It aims to manage the supply of oil in an effort to set the prices of oil in the world market so that it won't affect the consumer as well as the suppliers. So that is the reason why the OPEC organization has been formed. And we should know about the Director General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics, which the news has mentioned is. It is in Kolkata. It works under the Ministry of Commerce. It is the pioneer official organization for collecting, compilation and dissemination of India's trade statistics and commercial information. The organization is the oldest statistics organization which was founded way back during 1862. The Sir William W. Hunter was the first Director General of this department. In 1871. So this is what the detail of Director General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics is about. So what we needed to study further is we should know about the Russian geography. And also we should know about the West Asian geography, and we should know about the benchmark crude oils. So these are all the other areas which we should know about. Adjournment motion, Rule 267, way to seek urgent discussion in Parliament. So it is the news related to adjournment motion as well as Rule 267 of Rajya Sabha. And what does the news mentioned is, it wanted to raise matter in the House means the MP must first inform the presiding officer. It is either Speaker in the case of Lok Sabha or Chairman in the case of Rajya Sabha in advance. This requirement ensures the government can collect the information so that they could able to respond to the MP's matter which the MPs has raised before. Government as its agenda, what are all the bills as well as budget they are going to introduce, and what are all and at what time they are going to introduce the particular bill as well as budget, adellame vandu government agenda la irukum. It too required to give on the one hand the MP should raise the issue before ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட நேரத்துக்கு முன்னாடி பாத்தீங்கன்னா எம்பி வந்துட்டு ஸ்பீக்கர் கிட்ட அந்த இஷ்யூவை ரைஸ் பண்ணணும். What are all the matters which he demands the answer from the government, and the government also should inform the MPs கிட்ட வந்து அவங்க வந்துட்டு அவங்களோட அஜெண்டாவை பத்தின ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் தரணும். எந்தெந்த டைம்ல எந்தெந்த டேட்ல அவங்க வந்து என்னென்ன பில் பட்ஜெட்லாம் வந்து ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ண போறாங்கன்ற இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் கவர்மெண்ட் சைட்ல இருந்து தரணும். Both the sides will need to give their own set of requirements. The adjournment motion is available only in Lok Sabha because the Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha rule book does not provide for adjournment motion. Instead, Rajya Sabha could use Rule 267 to suspend question hour in the House to raise urgent matter. It can be any matter before 2000. After 2000, the Rules Committee of 2000 amended this rule. It tightened the Rule 267 to allow the discussions on matters which are related to the related to the business list before the Council of States. That is, after 2000, the amendment made by the Rules Committee, the Rules 267 will be applicable only to the matters related to those matters which is already mentioned in the list, business list. That is the list which is going to be come to discussion in the later day of the particular day in which the Rule 267 is being demanded by the MPs. And any other matters other than the matters which is mentioned in the business list will not be permitted under Rule 267. This is the amendment made by the Rules Committee during the period of 2000. So what does this adjournment motion means? As I have said, it can be only introduced in Lok Sabha because the government, that is the Council of Ministers, are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha only. So it could be raised. So it could draw the attention of the House on a definite matter of urgent public importance. It involves an element of censure against the government. The motion, if needed to be taken up in the Parliament, means it. Taken up in the Lok Sabha discussions means it need a support of at least 50 members. So that அப்படி இருந்தாதான் speaker will be accepting it. Otherwise, the speaker won't accept it. The discussion on this motion should last for not less than 2 hours and 30 minutes. These are all the details related to adjournment motion means. So what does this? Since we have discussed about the Rules Committee and its amendment on Rules 267, we should know about the Rules Committee of both the Rules Committee of the Parliament, that is both Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. The Rules Committee consists of 15 members, which includes Speaker in case of Lok Sabha and Chairman in case of Rajya Sabha as the ex officio chairperson of the committee. The members are nominated by Speaker in the case of Lok Sabha and Chairman in the case of Rajya Sabha. The committee considers matters and procedures and conducts of business in the House. It recommends any amendments or addition to the rules of procedure and conducts of business in the Lok Sabha that are considered necessary. And in the case of Rajya Sabha means same. It recommends any amendment or addition to the rules of procedure and conducts of business in the Rajya Sabha that are considered necessary. So this is what the function of the Rules Committee is. So what we needed to study further is we should know about what are all the other standing committees as well as ad hoc committee of the Parliament. Second is we should know about the functioning of the entire Parliament as well as state legislature is there. Third is we should know about the Article 105 of the Indian Constitution, which provides privilege to the MPs. Fourth is we should know about the Article 118 of the Indian Constitution. So these are all the other things which we should know about so that the holistic understanding of the news could be made. So let's get into the UPSC previous year prelims question which was asked in relation to the news which we have discussed right now. With reference to the Parliament of India, which one of the following parliamentary committee scrutinizes and reports to the House whether the power to make regulation, rules, sub-rules, bylaws, etc. conferred by the Constitution or delegated by the Parliament are being properly exercised by the executive within the scope of such delegation? It was the question asked during 2018 prelims. The answer is the Committee of Subordinate Legislation. The term West Texas Intermediate, sometime mentioned in the news, refers to grade of crude oil. Option answer A, crude oil. As I was now on the crude oil news பார்க்கும்போது, as I said, we should know about the benchmark crude oil of the world. There are two types of benchmark crude oil. Among them only one of the type is West Texas Intermediate. So another crude oil benchmark crude oil na enna? What are all the components which those corresponding crude oils are made of? Which country is using that particular benchmark as the benchmark அப்படின்றதையும் நம்ம செக் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கோம். UPSC mains question. COVID-19 pandemic has caused unprecedented devastation worldwide. However, technological advancements are being availed readily to win over the crisis. Give an account of how technology was sought to aid management of the pandemics. 250 words and 15-mark question. I want those students, those who are watching this current affairs session online, please do comment answer point for the question which you are seeing right now on the board, so that the enrichment as well as exchange of viewpoints could take place. So please do comment the answer point for the question. So thank you, students. Please do comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, so that you could able to receive the daily current affairs session related notification to you. And also, if there is any kind of other important current affair updates or any kind of important news in relation to the exam, which will be brought to you in the future by Ganesh IAS Academy. Thank you.